Headline anyway. Rockets have agreed to trade Russell Westbrook to Washington for John Wall and a protected first in 2023. Wall hasn't played since the day after Christmas of 2018 and has 3 years and more than $132 million left on his contract. Westbrook joins a Wizards team built around Bradley Beal, who averaged the second most points in the NBA last season and yet somehow is still woefully underrepresented in terms of all NBA teams in my estimation. Washington also has a sharpshooter, Davis Bertans, who got paid, was coveted this offseason. Lottery picks in the last couple of years, including Denny Avdia. Steve, do you think it's a playoff team?
Yes.
I agree. Part of it's the East, but...
Correct.
As for Houston, John Wall reunites with DeMarcus Cousins after they played together at Kentucky. Speaking of reunites, Westbrook gets back together with Scott Brooks, who he was with in OKC. Be interesting to see how the game meshes with Harden, who became the first player since Michael Jordan to average 30 in 3 consecutive seasons. Adrian Wojnarowski, who blew up our rundown with his tweet about this news, joins us now. My guy Jeff and all of his Wizard buddy fans here in D.C. are bumming to see Wall, a perennial all-star, leave town. But Woj, he's a guy coming off an Achilles, and you know, explosiveness was his calling card. What does Houston think they're getting in Wall?
Well, they think they're getting a player who wants to be with the Rockets and who has shown in the months since, has been working out this summer, that he's got some explosion back. He's expanded his game. He's shooting the three-pointer well with all of this time off. But listen, this was a trade of 2 players on 2 teams who wanted to go in the other direction. Russell Westbrook wanted to be in Washington, reunited with Scotty Brooks, play with Brad Beal, and John Wall wanted to play with James Harden, wanted to go to Houston, and finally they got that deal done this afternoon. The 2 general managers hadn't talked in weeks, and Russell Westbrook's agent Thad Fouché really got them talking today, and then within a few hours they had a deal.
Storm and Scott with you on a Monday. Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz agreeing to a 5-year max extension worth up to $195, coming off a postseason where he averaged over 36 points per game. And ditto for Jason Tatum, cashing in 5-year max extension with Boston, also worth up to $195 million for the first-time All-Star in 2020. Lakers agreed to a deal with Marc Gasol, the defending champs, reworking that front court. They also traded JaVale McGee to the Cavs to clear up space for his signing. And the man, he's not even the man, the myth. He's the man, the legend. Adrian Wojnarowski just working like crazy. The draft, free agency, insane. All right, so obviously the Lakers aren't resting on their laurels, right? So they trade for Dennis Schroeder, they add Gasol, they add Montrezl Harrell. What are you hearing about everything they're doing this offseason?
Well, it's pretty rare when a defending champion actually upgrades their bench and upgrades on players who helped them win a title. Rajon Rondo went to Atlanta. Dwight Howard goes to Philly. So they bring in Dennis Schroeder in a trade, a 6th Man of the Year candidate. Marc Gasol, future Hall of Fame center, won a title 2 years ago in Toronto. He comes in now in the middle, and this is a Laker team that around the edges has gotten even better. Rob Pelinka's had a very good offseason here after the Lakers finally won that title with LeBron James, Anthony Davis.
All right, so we don't know where they're going to play. Let's say they do play in the Staples Center, and the other team that occupies the Staples Center this season, of course, being the LA Clippers. And it almost feels like some kind of arms race, like, whatever you do, I can do better. So the Clippers have added Serge Ibaka. He reunites with Kawhi Leonard. I mean, what does that mean for the rivalry going forward?
Yeah, the Clippers have catching up to do, and it always seems like the Clippers and Lakers are competing very often for the same players. But the Clippers wanted to keep some of their key guys. Marcus Morris, they signed to a 4-year, $64 million deal. Markeith's brother, bringing him back was important. And the Serge Ibaka commitment was huge for the Clippers. It gives them a veteran front court player, can play both spots, and they still have more work to do. Luke Kennard comes in from Detroit, who can play both guard spots, give them some good minutes there. And, they still have a few more roster spots. Reggie Jackson, who they signed last year, he's a possibility he might be able to return to that Clipper bench. But, with Ty Lue, this is a different team now, and this is a different head coach and a little different way of looking at things. But the Clippers know they've got a gap to close with the Lakers.
Really quickly, do you have a sense of how involved Ty Lue is with these personnel decisions, how front and center he is with what's happening there?
Yeah, listen, it's a pretty collaborative place there. Lawrence Frank, Mike Winger, their front office, they spend a lot of time talking with Ty Lue about how pieces fit and how they want to play. And I know that's a conversation they have every day.
It's just so fascinating to have these two teams in the same building. Clippers still trying to battle for the soul of LA, and the schedule comes out December 1st, so we'll see when they play head-to-head.
All right. Thanks, Hannah.
Thanks for all your hard work, Woj. We appreciate it. For NBA insider Brian Windhorst. So can we start with Giannis, our two-time reigning NBA MVP, because he enters the final season of his contract, as we all know, but he could sign the Supermax, 5 years, $228 million, to remain with the Bucks. What sort of ripple effect could that have, Wendy, on the rest of the league going forward?
Well, Hannah, it's really everything. To be honest with you, we just had the craziest week of NBA transactions in league history, but nothing is more important than waiting on this Giannis extension. If he extends, the Bucks are the gigantic winners of this offseason. If he does not extend, we're going to see a mad rush and dash to prepare for his possible free agency next summer. And if you look at moves that teams have made across the league, whether it's the Miami Heat signing 4 players to 1-year contracts, whether it's the Toronto Raptors tailoring the contracts of their players so that they have more room next year, or the Dallas Mavericks making trades to clear off guaranteed money, those teams believe there's a chance that Giannis may not sign it. And so the whole league, one way or another, is sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for that decision.
Okay, so let's really play this thing forward now. Let's talk about Anthony Davis, because the whole world expects him to return to the Lakers. So how potentially could what Giannis is doing or ends up doing impact the type of contract that AD ends up getting?
Yeah, it's unusual for AD to delay his re-signing for this long. And one of the things he could be watching is what Giannis does. If Giannis elects to sign the extension, then we could see AD potentially sign for longer. But if Giannis sets himself up to be a free agent next year, I know it seems hard for them to believe that the Lakers could do it, but that might spur Anthony Davis to only sign a 1-year contract with a player option, which is the kind of deal that LeBron James is on, to leave flexibility in Lakers payroll. So there's a lot of people watching Giannis Antetokounmpo right now.
Welcome back to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols, still here with Kendrick Perkins, Zach Lowe, and you just heard former Atlanta Hawk, current Jump analyst Vince Carter on our free agency special on Friday. And guess what, guys? I don't know, Zach. He might be giving you a run for his money. He was right about Gallinari, right about Rondo being Hawks targets. And another guy he mentioned is the subject of our first topic here, one of our favorite games, Something, Nothing, or Everything. Yes, free agent Bogdan Bogdanović has signed a 4-year, $72 million offer sheet with the Hawks. The Kings have until tomorrow to match that offer. If he stays with the Hawks, Vince Carter would be 3 for 4 on his predictions and reporting, Zach. So is this offer sheet something, nothing, or everything? And do you need to add Vince Carter to the reporting team here at ESPN?
Well, first of all, he was also right about Joe Harris. The Hawks would have loved to go after Joe Harris, but everybody knew he was going back to Brooklyn. The Bogdanović offer sheet is something. I actually really like his fit at Atlanta. I like it better than Danilo Gallinari, who's going to have to play a lot of small forward for them, and I don't necessarily love that. I like the idea of another really good ball handler on the wing who can get the ball out of Trae Young's hands a little bit and let Trae Young run around and set screens like Steph Curry does. Trae could be really impactful in that kind of role and give some other guys a chance to handle the ball. I think everyone's happier. The ecosystem works. So I really like this move by the Hawks, and now we just wait to see if the Kings match. And the Hawks made it nasty with like a trade kicker and stuff. I love when these offer sheets get nasty.
Rachel, Zach, Bogdanović to the Hawks will be everything. With Trae Young and Bogdanović, this might be the best scoring backcourt in the NBA. Bogdanovich is a guy that teams have to prep for and shoot around and make sure they have a focal point on how to stop him. He is a walking bucket, and you pair him along a guy that's a level 4 scorer like Trae Young, it's going to be hard to stop them offensively. I don't care about how terrible they are on the defensive end. If you got this much scoring power in your backcourt, you have a problem. And then they could go with a 3-guard lineup where they have Rondo playing the point and have both of those guys playing off the ball. It could be serious. We could see a Splash Brothers, a lower version of the Splash Brothers down there in Atlanta, and I got Atlanta making the playoffs, even if Bogdanovich don't come. But if he do come, they're going to make the playoffs and actually make some noise in the playoffs. That's how much of a factor he is.
So the question then, Zach, is are the Kings going to match, or is Bogdanovich going to be an Atlanta Hawk next season?
Nobody knows. Everyone's asking me that question today. I think given that the Kings already orchestrated a sign and trade for him that didn't actually work out, I would bet slightly against them matching. It's a lot of money, and they have a lot committed to Buddy Hield and now De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes and Marvin Bagley's come up. So I would bet slightly no, but no team likes to lose a really good player for nothing. So I think I'll say 60-40 no. I don't feel confident in it.
What do you think the Kings should do, Perk?
No, I think the Kings should match. You can't get rid of, look, you can't let a guy like this just walk. And I think with the Kings already giving the young kid Fox his money, you can't let this second option guy, a guy that shows you that he's a closer, a flat-out scorer, just leave your organization without trying to put up an effort. So I do think the Kings should match.
Well, we'll see what they do. They also have, of course, as Zach noted, other financial commitments. And let's get to one of those. Rising star De'Aaron Fox received a 5-year, $163 million maxed extension this past weekend. Fox less than 1 month shy of his 23rd birthday. So, Perk, is this extension something, nothing, or everything?
Rachel, it is everything. It is everything. They drafted Fox, and every single year this young man has gotten better. He's one of the most underrated point guards in the league, and he keeps getting better every single year. I think this is a right move by the Kings. They're moving in the right directions. It showed that they're invested into the guy that they draft as a lottery pick, and the sky's the limit for Fox, and I love him because he's a Texas boy, so I'm always rooting for him and I'm happy for him. But he's a great starting point for this Kings organization.
It's everything, and it has to be everything because it's every damn dollar the Kings can offer him. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Nuggets deal with Jamal Murray, where it strikes you as a little early, it strikes some people as a little early, but this is a mid-market, small-market team that has to take care of its own guys, and I'm a De'Aaron Fox believer. I think he has talent. I think he can be a leader. That said, last year he got better at a lot of stuff, finishing in the paint, getting to the line, playmaking, but 29% from three. If that doesn't change, guys are going to go under picks against him, and I thought his defense kind of plateaued and maybe got a little worse. That said, if he can put together the improvements he had last year and improve those other parts of his game, then it all comes together and you have a potentially really, really special player, and I'm actually optimistic he can put it all together like that.
Well, if you're talking about a situational contractual comp in Jamal Murray, certainly the Kings would be happy if it ended up as well for them as it ended up for the Nuggets in that situation. Right. Lastly, I want to get to Fred VanVleet, who agreed to a 4-year, $85 million deal to re-sign with the Raptors. The deal includes a player option in the final year. It is the largest contract in NBA history for an undrafted player. So first, just a little congrats from all of us to Fred VanVleet. His expression is bet on yourself, right? So is it something, nothing, or everything, Zach, that Fred bet on himself, got those kind of numbers, and is going to return to the Toronto Raptors?
Obviously, it's everything. Isn't this what you want to see in sports? Undrafted, too little, not athletic enough, can't finish at the rim, blah, 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 blah. And he comes in and he's a flat-out stud. He's a winner. He's tough as hell. He's a character guy, and he's making $20 million a year. And just for kicks, give me the player option in year 4. So if I'm still rolling, I can get back into free agency again in my prime. I love it. I love it for the Raptors. I kind of wanted the Knicks to go after him because I think the Knicks need a point guard in the absolute worst way, but it's a great deal for Fred VanVleet. Great deal for the Raptors.
Well, Rachel, it's not everything, it's not something, it's not nothing. This is a beautiful thing. You're watching a guy who did get drafted. On draft night, guys look forward to get drafted, but now Fred VanVleet showing guys that never got drafted, especially in this year's draft, to never give up. And much props to Masai Ujiri for taking a chance on a guy like Fred VanVleet. And Nick Nurse actually giving him an opportunity to go out there and prove himself. But you got to give a lot of props to Fred VanVleet because, like you said, he betted on himself. And I follow him on social media, and he always have the emojis of the dice, and he rolling the dice. And guess what? He struck gold, man, and I'm proud of him because for the simple fact that he came out, he delivered. He's an underrated defender. He could get buckets, and this contract is well deserved.